To get started, you want to take the thread colour that you've chosen and you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of a tail end for making your tie on at the end, and then you want to make a slip knot. And then you want to insert your crochet hook into the knot and just leaving a little bit of a loop for working back into. You want to chain 2, and then you want to put your thread over your hook and then go back into the beginning of your chain, and then you want to yarn over, pull 1 through, and then pull through 1 again, and then pull through all 3. Then you want to repeat that again and go yarn over and then go into the next set of loops on your hook, pull 1 through, yarn over, pull 1 through again, and then yarn over and pull through all of them. And you want to keep repeating this until you've got your chainless foundation, as long as you need it to go around the wrist, depending on the size of the wrist that you're making for. So it could be a varying amount of chains you'll need for yours. Just measure it as you go along. So once you've got your chainless foundation, as long as you want it, instead of moving on to the next row, what you're going to do is you're going to trim off the end, and then you want to pull your tail end through to fasten off. By reattaching your thread on each row, you will end up with enough tail ends to make a braided tie-on end when you're finished. So now you can take the end that you've just snipped and then pick which side you want to add your next row. And then you're going to work into your first loop, and then you want to pull the thread through that loop. You don't need to tie a knot here, you can if you want, but because you're going to braid at the end, that will keep it secure and in place when you're finished anyway. So what you want to do is you want to take your other tail end and roughly match them up, and then holding these tail ends, you want to chain 4. And then you want to skip the next stitch and then slip stitch into the one after that. So you're always going to be slip stitching into the second one on this second row. So again, you want to skip that one and then chain 4. And then slip stitch into the second stitch. And you want to complete these all the way along for your second row. Each time chaining 4 and then slip stitch into your second stitch. So once you get to the end of your second row, you want to do the same thing that you did for the end of your first row. Just snip the end and then pull the tail end through your loop to fasten off. And then to do your last row, what you're going to do is you're going to find the gap in your first little chain thing that you've done there, and then you're going to work into the stitch that you didn't use the last time. So when you went across the first time, you skipped one and then chained into the second. So this time you're going to work into the one that you didn't use last time. But because you want it to be at the back, if you're doing your bigger row, which is what I'm doing here, you want to take it through from there. So you want to insert your hook and then work it round like that, and then those two are your first stitch that you want to work for your next row. So again, you just want to insert your thread through there like that, and then find your shortest end and hold that with the other threads there that are going to make your fasten on end. When you're done, hold those, and then this is going to be the row that you want to show from here. So instead of chaining 4, you're going to chain 6. So then you want to work through your next gap, and you're going to be working into there, but of course you want to do it from the back, so you're going to insert it through and then go through the front and then slip stitch. This can be a little bit tricky to do. You can do it the other way around if you want. You could do the biggest part first and then do the smaller part at the front afterwards, but I prefer to do it after I've done the first one and do it at the back. But really it doesn't matter if you prefer to do it like that, it's fine. It might be easier if you're a little bit newer to crochet. And so each time you're going to be working into the chain that you didn't use the last time. So you want to repeat this until you've got to the end of your row. So once you get to the end of your third and final row, you can once again snip the end of your thread and then pull it through to fasten off. So once you've done your 3 rows, you'll end up with 3 pieces of thread that you can braid together to make your braided tie-on ends. So once you've braided your tail end as long as you need it to be, you can tie a knot in all the threads and then just pull it nice and tight. And you want to do this for both sides, and then you can remove it from the board or whatever you've used to secure it while you were doing your braiding, and you should end up with something that looks like that. So because you did your crocheting in between the loops on the second row, it should overlap like that so you can see both of your frills. And that is your completed crochet lace friendship bracelet.